Everybody, welcome to my channel, Be Free Now with Maria. So today I'm going to start out with this deck, the Four Agreements, and then I'm going to pick a word from my bag of words. All right, I shuffled the deck already, and I'm going to choose the card on top, and let's see what it says. It says, let go of self-judgment and blame. Being impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself for anything. Okay, so I have my contacts on and I'm like, wait, am I reading this right? And yes, I did. Be impeccable. You take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself for anything. I love that. You know, it's about making that distinction, right? We can take responsibility, but we don't have to villainize ourselves. And what that means is that we are open and willing to own up to our choices that maybe we may look back on and say, maybe that wasn't the best choice, or I could have done this instead upon reflection. But we accept that in that moment, that was the best that we could do. If we could have done better, we would have, right? In that moment, that was the best we had. In other words, that was our consciousness, that was our level of awareness, and we navigated through it the best way we could. It doesn't mean we didn't do something that couldn't have been done differently. It means that we're not gonna carry shame, attack ourselves mentally because we are not perfect, right? Because we made a choice, right? That upon reflection, we can see a different one was available to us. In other words, we can see that a different choice was available to us, and we couldn't see that at the moment. And it's like allowing space for us to be human and not let ourselves have this expectation that it has to be, you know, only one way, or it has to be perfect. And allowing, right, ourselves to be able to take responsibility opens up the door for our growth. If we have to be right, then we can't learn, right? Because if we're right, then there's nothing to reflect on, there's nothing to grow on, there's nothing to learn. We're right, and that's it. But when we allow ourselves to take responsibility, right, we're opening ourselves up to own, right, something that we did that, like I said, upon reflection, think, okay, I could have done that differently, without being harsh on ourselves, without us creating shame for ourselves, villainizing ourselves, and making ourselves bad people because we had a hard time coping with something, or we struggled emotionally in some area, or we, you know, doubted ourselves along the way, or we betrayed ourselves, and then, you know, feel terrible about it and hold on to, you know, all of this negative thoughts about ourselves because of that, and then punish ourselves, right? We want to shift from that and make room for our humanness and take responsibility without a negative story, you know, and judging ourselves so harshly. All right, but before I go any further, because I do have some other thoughts in my mind, but I do want to pick a bag of words to see how I can integrate those thoughts into this. All right, so let's see. Ooh, create. I love that. So create. You know, it immediately made me think of creating a space where we give ourselves permission to be human and give ourselves some time to also see ourselves through bigger lens. You know, in other words, as opposed to just a person who, you know, did something, or who's just, as opposed to just looking at this action, right, and creating a story of ourselves because of that, right? Not only being more gentler, but thinking about ourselves more expansively. And I'm talking about just like even incorporating a spiritual perspective on who we are and who we are on a core level. It's like our essence, right? Are we just these stories, or are we more than just the action, the story that we tell ourselves. And if we are thinking of our essence, right, then now we're looking at something bigger and broader than just us being humans. We're also, right, souls experiencing this lifetime, and sometimes walking, right, in a darkness, like forgetting who we are or our true home, and coming here and having this experience and only thinking that this is it. So we want to pull back, right, and really contemplate, can, right, there be something else? And what is our essence? Sometimes when we ask ourselves some of the deeper questions, we are able to shift from seeing ourselves in this linear way and start, looking at ourselves more expansively. That allows us to give ourselves more grace, right? To make more space for ourselves and to be able to pivot when we are not seeing ourselves through positive light, right? To be able to not only learn, right, from the choices that we make, but to be able to see that there's more to us, right? There's this essence, there's this soul essence, right? And when we incorporate that into the dynamic of our psyche, we give ourselves more grace. We open ourselves to give ourselves more grace and to allow ourselves to know that we will forget who we really are. We're going to forget because we get caught up in our five senses, but we can also anchor ourselves back. In other words, we can pivot, we can come back, right, to reminding ourselves that God lives and breathes through us, that there is more to us than just our action, or if we perceive it as a mistake, our mistake, right, that we are more than just our perceived failures, that there is a lot more, to us. And when we remind ourselves of that, then we are not as judgmental. We are able to release shame. And it's almost like, asking shame to step outside, and saying, no, thank you, shame. I'm not walking with you today. I walk with spirit. I allow myself to be human, and I give myself that grace. My spirit is it doesn't judge me. My spirit is, thinking the word judgeless, but that's not a word. It's non-judgmental. It's what it is. And there's another word I have in my head, but it's kind of blocked. But it's, it's like this. It's like, it's impersonal. That's the word. It's impersonal. It's not judging us. We are judging ourselves. And when we do that, we're going to get sidetracked. But when we recognize that we are more than just our action, right? And we accept that we're not being judged, on a spirit level, then we know that no, we are doing this to ourselves. I am saying something to myself that is making me feel yucky and then has me, caught up in a negative cycle and repeating patterns that don't feel good. It's almost like that, as opposed to, I'm no good and that's just, it, and that's the bottom line. No, that's not the bottom line. We are not our actions. We are more than just that. We forget who we are and we show up to life, with this cloudiness or in this darkness. But we are more than that. We are light, and we can open ourselves up to it when we seek, allow ourselves to explore and contemplate, right, our essence, so that we can shift and use that to also pivot. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that we can do it, but this is the way that's coming to me now. It's one of my favorite ways to pivot, because it is important that we recognize that our five senses really is creating an illusion for us, and our stories are going along with this, and really taking a toll on us. And because we fear being wrong or failing or not being liked or something along those lines, and most importantly, this fear of being wrong, a lot of times will block us from taking responsibility. We can take responsibility and still be kind to ourselves. We can take responsibility and still love ourselves. We can take responsibility and still accept ourselves and make room, right, and create grace for ourselves. We can do that. It's okay. So, yeah, that's pretty much the message that's coming to me. I hope that it helps you in some way, and that you have a beautiful day. If it did help you in some way, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel so that you can be notified when I upload further videos. And if you want to find out more of what I'm offering, you can go to my website, and all the information is down in the description below. All right, have a beautiful day. Bye for now.